Sometimes, when Nina's cell phone rings. She vaguely reaches out just to pick it up. And Lucian Gray slams the phone into the distance. What are you doing? Nina wakes up right now. God, it is noon outside. She has class today. Nina grabs the sheet to cover herself and is ready to get out of bed to pick up the phone. The slender ankle is held tight by a big palm. Don't move, lie down. Lucian Gray, with his eyes closed and lying sprawled, orders Nina Morrison. You are crazy. I have a class today. Nina Morrison looks at the phone in the corner. That is the only thing worthy she has. No classes, you have to be with me all today. Lucian Gray is being unreasonable. Nina Morrison could not get out of his control without the iron grip of his big hand. Nina Morrison sighs. Let go. Let me get the phone. Lucian Gray slouches up his eyes. Your stupid phone is long overdue. Drop it. I will take you to buy a new one later. His proud tone is full of lofty superiority. Nina Morrison is annoyed and smiles coldly. Yes, in the eyes of President Gray, everything I have should be eliminated. I am not as noble as you. The barbed words make Gray's thick eyebrow dangerously wrinkles. Nina Morrison, are you challenging my temper? The tone is subtle, but the threat is clear. How dare I challenge you? You are a powerful man. I am just a mistress betraying myself. How dare I oppose you? Nina's eyes at Lucian Gray are stiff and cold. Lucian Gray fixes her eyes on Nina Morrison. His dark eyes slowly catch a bloodthirsty glow. Nina Morrison, you hate me so much. Nina Morrison stares at Lucian Gray. Her eyes are full of anger. Yes. She says the simple words so hard. Lucian Gray sneers. There was a terrible chill all over. Well, then I will make you hate me completely. Before his voice falls, he suddenly rolls over and crushes her under him. He ties her arms with a tie. Let go. Lucian Gray. You bastard. Nina screams and struggles, while Lucian Gray looks like a mad lion trying to tear her apart. No kiss. No touch. No foreplay. The bloodthirsty sword suddenly attacks before she is ready. The blood trickles down. Nina Morrison controls herself with a remnant of reason. She does not shed tears of shame and pain and gives herself a last ounce of self-respect. She does not know when Lucian Gray left. By the time Nina Morrison wakes up, it is already dark. Lying motionless for a while, Nina Morrison drags her broken body into the bathroom and feels as if she is all dirty. Her body is all bruised and blue. This man is more cruel than the most cruel devil. Her face is swollen and her lips are broken. The eyes are empty like a dead man. If Lucian Gray does this again, I will be ruined by him. Nina Morrison reaches out and strikes her face in the mirror. Escape. The idea crosses her brain like a meteor. But then she denies it. Nina Morrison, you have to be strong. Dad's still in bed waiting for surgery. You can't just throw in the towel. Since Lucian Gray is her golden lord, she shall play a good mistress. Lucian Gray does not like women being stubborn, so be nice. Lucian Gray does not like women to be independent, so be soft. It is just acting. Anyone can do it. From now on, you are going to play a gentle and obedient lover. Whatever happens, whatever Lucian Gray does to you, you should keep smiling. You cannot control your body. But your heart cannot be defeated by anyone. Nina Morrison, come on. Her belly growls and she feels so hungry. From last night, she has been tortured. Nina Morrison feels like she is getting drained. Hanging over her freshly washed hair, Nina Morrison opens the closet, which is full of the most stylish and beautiful clothes. Lucian Gray is very generous with women. It seems to be true. Nina Morrison laughs at herself. She puts on the simplest white dress. Nina goes downstairs to the dining room to get something to eat. It is strange that there is no one in the restaurant. She does not know where they have gone. There is silence everywhere. Nina Morrison shakes her head. She opens the refrigerator and sees that it contained all kinds of food. Well, make some noodles. This is the fastest. She is starving. She takes out some prawns, shells them, and picked out the digestive tract of them. Then she washes the fresh mushrooms and cooks them with the prawns in boiling water. Nina also makes a tomato scrambled egg and cooks the noodles in another pot. Stir-fry tomato scrambled egg. Heat the cooked eggs. Take the fresh prawns and mushrooms out of the pot. Boil some lettuce in the boiling water, and then directly flavor in the noodle soup. Then she puts the ingredients in a beautiful crystal bowl and shapes them into a beautiful shape with chopsticks, and finally sprinkles some parsley. The final product is colorful and looks as bright and inviting as an advertisement for instant noodles. She cleans her hands. Nina could not wait to sit at the table, being content to look at the noodles in front of her, and she picks up the noodles and puts them in her mouth. When Lucian Gray walks in, he sees this image. Summer night, soft evening breeze blows snow-white gauze curtain. At the table, a beautiful girl sits. Her black long hair is in the light of the emitting bright luster. Her white face is as delicate as snow. She is holding a spoon, putting a delicious bowl of soup into her mouth. He puts his foot back on purpose. As expected, Nina turns her head, looking at him. She opens her mouth in surprise and, after a moment of silence, reacts and jumps up. Probably somewhere is in pain, so she bends down with her pale face. Her eyes are suddenly filled with water vapor. The whole person in the table looks surprised and scared, nothing like her calm just now. Lucian Gray raises his eyebrows. What is this? Nina Morrison opens her mouth. Tears are crumbling in her beautiful big eyes. The voice is soft. President Gray, you are back. Lucian Gray slips a little doubt into his heart and walks over, snorting, what are you doing? How does a nail-sharp hedgehog become a rabbit? Nina Morrison lowers her head and hides her eyes, and she confesses, I am sorry, in a timid voice. Lucian Gray frowns. The pepper suddenly becomes so soft that he is not used to it. You are sorry. What have you done to me? Lucian Gray reaches out and lifts Nina's pointy little chin. Suddenly, squeeze. Nina Morrison breathes in the pain. She scolds Lucian Gray hundreds of times. Sick. Crazy. Violent. But she begs for mercy. I am wrong. Please let go. Pain. Lucian Gray's eyes are more confused. What the hell is Nina Morrison doing? Where is the little pepper that will never bow to him? Now she is really soft and cute like a rabbit. His piercing black eyes stare straight at Nina Morrison, holding up her jaw with his big hands, forcing her to look him in the eye. Are you wrong? Well, tell me what you did wrong. Nina Morrison hides all the edges of her eyes and makes them full of fear and weakness. It is my fault. I am not good enough. She tells Lucian Gray in tears. That is why you hate me so much. You do not like me and it must because I am not good enough. Lucian Gray sneers closer to her. Is that what you mean? Why do I feel so hypocritical? Nina Morrison is shocked. Her eyes are more innocent. It is the truth. I remember you said a girl is better to be nice. Lucian Gray's eyes are half smiling. What, are you just trying to impress me? Nina Morrison is relieved to see that the strategy of pretending to be a white rabbit worked. President Gray, you are willing to spend so much money treating my father. I can't thank you enough. Nina Morrison tries to sound sincere. If I do not pay for your father's treatment, I am still an asshole in your heart, a villain, a pervert, right? Lucian Gray yanks away from his hand. Nina loses the strength of him and almost falls. Lucian Gray's eyes are cold. His handsome face is even more somber. Nina Morrison bites her lower lip and swallows the phrase that comes out of her mouth. Are you treating my father for kindness? You just want me to be your mistress to satisfy your desires. Hold on. Nina Morrison, you have to learn to tolerate. Nina Morrison slips back into an unremarkable corner. Lucian Gray goes to the table and sits down. He stretches out his right hand. Bring it. Ah. Nina Morrison does not understand. Bring me a pair of chopsticks. Lucian Gray feels hungry as he looks at the noodles in the crystal bowl on the table. The noodles look delicious. He did not expect Nina Morrison to be quite good. Nina Morrison, who is so hungry, watches Lucian Gray taking a mouthful of sweet noodles and drinking the soup, leaving nothing for her. Lucian Gray finishes eating and sits contentedly on the sofa. Black velvet shirt is unbuttoned the top too. His face is still with that kind of smiling handsome appearance. Only his eyes are cold and deeper than the deepest night. Looking at Nina Morrison, he says coldly, "From now on, you do not have to go to school. It is your duty to be my maid." Nina Morrison is shocked. No, she could not give up school. If she gives up her chance to go to college, she will be stuck with Lucian Gray for the rest of her life. She has so many dreams to fulfill. She could not really give up and be a canary in a cage. Please, let me finish college. Nina's eyes are real please. Lucian Gray will always do what he says. If he is serious about not letting her study, there is nothing she can do about it. Lucian Gray's overbearing striptease. You are a decent cook and it is a waste of you to go to school. Cook for me at home. What kind of logic it is? Is it a waste of good cook to study? Nina Morrison has scolded Lucian in the heart many times, but she keeps begging. A weeping beauty, who like pear blossom bathed in the rain, with soft-spoken pleading. It is enough to melt a heart of stone. Lucian Gray's eyes are fixed on the Nina, blazing and cold. Nina Morrison feels a sudden chill. She could see the blazing light in his eyes. With an evil smile on his lips, his voice still sounds cold. Want to finish college? Well, you have to learn to please me first. Please him. Nina Morrison weighs the pros and cons in her mind. For such a stud, pleasing him means giving her up. What does it matter? Since she is not pure anymore. What is the difference between 2 and 3, passive and active? Nina Morrison takes a deep breath and walks slowly toward Lucian Gray. The next morning, while Nina Morrison is sitting in the classroom, she is still sore. The class has not begun. Some students are having breakfast, some are chatting, and the others are reading newspaper of the day. Well, these rich people, they love to change lovers. One of the students in the front row says disdainfully, pointing to the news in the newspaper. Well, it is Lucian Gray, the president of Gray Group. He is a famous playboy. It is said he has a number of mistresses, including the popular star, who is craving for him. Another student puts his head on the newspaper and says. Nina's heart leaps. Lily is gnawing at the bread and says to Nina, "Why are these women so shallow and cheap? Running off to be a mistress just to satisfy their vanity. What a shame. Yes. They just like Lucian Gray's money. I do not believe how much love they have." A schoolgirl scorns a woman who is close to Lucian Gray in the newspaper. In the newspaper, a huge photo in the front page shows Lucian Gray hugging a woman. The paparazzi's angle is so extreme that they can clearly see the emotional flush on the woman's face. Nina Morrison suddenly feels her breathing is a little rough and her chest is a little stuffy. It turns out Lucian Gray went out in the midnight yesterday to meet the woman. Indeed, his woman is innumerable. And she, Nina Morrison, is just the latest prey. For Lucian Gray, she is just fresh for the time being. Her shelf life is never more than other women. Nina Morrison shakes her head with a self-deprecating laugh. That is good. It is just a trade. When Dad's body is recovered, everybody walks each way. Good. It is really good. But what if her classmates learn that she was one of Lucian Gray's mistresses? She does not know how they would look down on her. Nina Morrison shudders. Nina Morrison spends the whole morning worrying and unsettling. If the truth is revealed, she does not know how to face the contemptuous eyes of classmates. With her hands on her cheeks, Nina Morrison stares at the spot on the table. Lucian Gray, this man has made a mess of her life. Nina, shall we go to the canteen for dinner later? You missed school the last few days when a new chef comes. His fish fillets in hot chili oil are very delicious. Red hearts appear in Lily's eyes, and she looks at Nina excitedly. Well, Nina Morrison is a little embarrassed. Lucian Gray ordered her to meet him at his office after class and have lunch. In fact, she would like to eat with Lily. She has not come to school for several days and would like to hear Lily talking about the new things in school. Nina, what is wrong with you? You have been weird lately. Is your father getting worse? Asks Lily worriedly. Nina Morrison is touched by Lily's worried look. Well, Lily, I will go and have fish fillets in hot chili oil with you after class. Nina Morrison decides. She goes the stairwell and dials Lucian Gray's phone number. Hey, well, I am something to do at noon, so I can't have lunch with you. What matter is more important than having lunch with me? Lucian does not sound very happy. Nina Morrison could not say more. Lucian Gray is a very perceptive person. And the more she says, the more likely he is to find her fault. The professor has something to do with me. It is time for class. Nina Morrison quickly hangs up the phone and wipes the cold sweat off her head. The hung-up phone sounds so empty. Lucian Gray is so angry that he slams his phone on the table. Nina, do not you dare hang up on me. Besides, this is the second time. Ryan, get my car ready. Black Bugatti heads for T University. Nina, do you know about Marcus? Lily chews ice cream and gossips with Nina Morrison. Marcus. Nina Morrison has a surprise. Yeah, she does not see Marcus in class today. One night, Marcus asked me about your flower shop. But the next day, he disappeared. It's said that he dropped out of school and went home. Lily shakes her head in confusion. The procedure for dropping out of school is particularly urgent. I don't know if something is wrong with his home. Drop out. Nina's eyes widen. Marcus dropped out. Yes. By the way, was he looking for you that night? Did something happen that night? Asks Lily curiously. No. I do not know. Nina Morrison just does not think she has the guts to tell her. How could she not know? She is the culprit. It must be Lucian Gray who forced Marcus to drop out of school. Lucian Gray's methods are always so dirty. Dropped out. Marcus dropped out. So, what about his dream? Nina Morrison will always remember that in her first class, the teacher let all the classmates talk about their dreams. The first one to go on stage was Marcus. He was so young, so handsome, and he said to everyone that he wanted to win a scholarship to Harvard University, and in the future, he wanted to be the best press publisher. Lucian Gray, why do you have to root him out? Marcus did not bother you. Nina Morrison clenches her pallid fist. Her white teeth are biting deep into the lip flap. Chapter 41. No. Way back. On the tree-lined road leading to the dining hall, the bustling crowd burst into a scream. A black Bugatti proudly drives through the crowd, with an insufferable arrogance. Squeaky. Bugatti suddenly stops in front of Nina Morrison and Lily. Nina Morrison is frozen, her breath is almost stops. Not Lucian Gray. Not Lucian Gray. Lucian Gray drives Lamborghini. This is not Lucian Gray's car. She prays silently in her heart. Lucian Gray's sulky face becomes clear inch by inch as the windows rolls down. His cold eyes are not even looking at Nina. His calm voice sounds chilling. Get in the car. The little girl is so ungrateful that he pushed off 2 important meetings and just wanted to have lunch with her. But she would rather have the school canteen than eat with him. Does she hate to see him so much? His eyes are stained with scarlet. Lily holds Nina's sleeve. Nina, is not this Lucian Gray? What? You. The girl who is scared by the sudden break starts pointing and saying, see. That is the girl. She seems to be President Gray's lover. Once I saw them hanging out at the sex shop. It is not very loud, but it just goes through Nina and Lily. There is a roar of laughter around. Nina Morrison bites her lip and turns pale. A pair of bright eyes are also covered with a layer of mist. Lily stares at Nina Morrison with shocked eyes. Nina, you are with Gray. You know he is a playboy, and he treats women as playthings. Nina Morrison, for the last time, get in the car. Lucian Gray's voice is already full of anger. Nina Morrison understands the shame she will be faced if she does not get in the car. Hurriedly explain to Lily, Lily, things are not what you think. Before she could finish, Lucian Gray has already pulled her into the car. Nina Morrison has not settled yet and Lucian Gray has slammed on the gas pedal and the car is flying like an arrow off the string. In the last second of her departure, Nina Morrison looks back and sees shock, disappointment, and contempt in Lily's eyes. Anger, boundless rage makes Nina Morrison stop pretending to be a soft white rabbit. Lucian Gray. What are you going to ruin my life for? Nina Morrison gnashes her teeth and taps Lucian Gray with her little fist. Glancing at Nina Morrison in the rear-view mirror, Ryan in the driver's seat immediately removes his sight. Facing with such things, he wishes he were blind and deaf. This girl must be crazy. How dare she fight President Gray? She is going to die so ugly. Nina's fist does not hurt, but Lucian Gray is furious. Does it embarrass her to be with him? Why the woman is ashamed of him? Nina Morrison cries with pain as a big, hard palm grips her slender neck with no effort. Lucian Gray, you lunatic. Devil. I hate you. You bastard. Nina Morrison kicks Lucian Gray with both hands and feet. She is only 19, and she has a long way to go. But now there is only one way. Lucian Gray's mistress. The stigma will haunt her for the rest of her life. The car gallops in the night. No one speaks. The atmosphere is stifling inside. Ryan peeks into the rear-view mirror at Lucian Gray and Nina Morrison, shaking his head in the dark. The little girl is too ungrateful. President Gray never takes a woman back to his mansion. Nina is the first. Today, the president set aside time for her to have lunch together, but she dared to stand up. Lucian Gray's face is livid and he exudes a bloodthirsty smell from head to foot. Around him, it seems as if the air would be a few degrees lower, making people tremble. The backseat is spacious, and Nina Morrison tries to shrink herself as far away from Lucian Gray as possible. She is now a bit regretful about her impulse to annoy Lucian Gray. She knows the consequence. But there is no regret medicine in the world. Nina Morrison gives Lucian Gray a furtive glance with the corner of her eyes and decides to apologize later. After all, Dad is lying in his bed waiting for surgery. She needs Lucian Gray's sponsored surgery fees. The car is parked at the garage gate. Nina Morrison opens her mouth and is about to explain why she didn't come eat with him today, but as soon as she looks up, she finds that Lucian Gray's deep dark eyes looking at her coldly. Seeing Nina Morrison is turning her head, Lucian Gray speaks arrogantly, "Get out of the car." On his forehead, his veins swell and he drags Nina's slender arm toward the living room. His hands are so strong that Nina's face wrinkles with pain. Her arm is about to be dislocated. She stumbles behind Lucian Gray. Her flat-bottomed sandals are ripped off and her feet ache on the gravel aisle. Nina Morrison is too stubborn to beg. Lucian Gray's getting angrier. Nina Morrison, I do not care how many piercings you have on you. Tonight, I am going to pull out all of them. Lights are bright and laughter is loud in the living room. Hearing footsteps, Nanny Wong greets them from the living room. Her smile is frozen as she sees the Lucian Gray's cold face. Master, your sister is back. Nanny Wong reports carefully, fearing that she might inadvertently provoke Lucian Gray. Though Lucian Gray raises his eyebrows and his face softens slightly, the strength of the hand does not diminish. Nina's foot has been skinned. It hurts. Her white dress also stains on the ground. Her hair hangs down loosely. The whole person is in a terrible mess. My dear brother. On the pure white sofa, the elegant girl stands up with a big smile. She frowns slightly as she sees Nina Morrison behind him. When did you get home, Sarah? Why not inform me in advance? Lucian Gray shakes Nina off brutally. Her stomach pounds against the corner of the table with a sharp pain, so she covers her belly and crouches in pain. Brother, I called you at noon, and your secretary said you had lunch with a Miss Morrison. Sarah Gray pursed her tender and rosy mouth. It is obvious that she's just a spoiled rich lady. Have you played enough? Are you going to travel around the world again? Lucian Gray asks. Sarah touches Lucian Gray's shoulder in a pettish way. Glancing at Nina Morrison with disdain, Sarah's beautiful face is filled with curiosity, then asks, why you bring a strange woman home? Lucian Gray turns to look at Nina and instructs his nanny, take her upstairs. Wait. Sarah Gray stops the nanny's action. She walks up to Nina Morrison and stares down at her. Nina Morrison lowers her head. The arrogance in Sarah's voice deeply hurts her. 3 years ago, she was also a rich girl. Although her family couldn't compare with the Grays, she is also the apple of her father's eye. But now, she can be stabbed with such a haughty tone of voice by another girl of the same age. Look up at me. Sarah tiptoes to Nina Morrison, who is crouching on the floor. Nina Morrison bites her lips. Her pale face is bloodless. She still hangs her head low and lets her long, disheveled hair cover her face. My brother, your new lover is a little bit stubborn. She is really unlovable. Sarah turns her head to Lucian Gray with a flicker of disgust in her eyes. Who does this woman think she is? Speak. Are you deaf or dumb? Sarah kicks Nina Morrison in the leg, just where she had been hurt. Nina is in pain. There is a bit of exasperation in her heart. Is being rich so great? That is why the rich can trample on the dignity of others. She is not a stray dog. How can she kick her around like that? With her head up, Nina's cold, obstinate eyes turn against Sarah Gray's angry eyes. Sarah Gray's taken aback, for Nina's eyes are so inspiring. And it seems there is something inside her eyes that she has never seen before. What's your name? How did you get to know my brother? Sarah Gray pretends to be calm. Sarah, stop. Lucian Gray comes up and pats her on the shoulder. Are you tired from flying? Go back to your bedroom and have a good rest. Brother, are you taking sides with her? I am asking her. Sarah Gray replies in injured tone. What is wrong with him? He loves her the most all the time, and he would never stand in the way when she humiliating his lovers. Today, for this little girl who does not seem to have grown well, how can he be so abnormal? She is Sarah Gray, his sister. Lucian Gray ignores Sarah's question. Turning to Nina Morrison, his voice is icy cold. I tell you to go upstairs. Do not you hear me? His eyes are cold as ever. Nina Morrison slowly climbs up from the floor. The pain of the scratched toe pierces the heart. She feels much more painful when lowering her abdomen. She has no choice but stands up, but suddenly feels dizzy, as if all her strength is drained. She staggers and holds the table beside her. Get up there. Do not pretend to be pathetic. Lucian Gray snaps. Nina tries to support her body, but her abdomen is so painful, as if she had been stabbed. Suddenly, a hot liquid runs down her thigh. Looking down, Nina covers her mouth with terror. Blood. It is blood. Bright red blood. Running down her legs. Blood. Brother, she is bleeding. Sarah Gray screams. 2. Lucian Gray's livid face suddenly turns pale. He rushes to Nina, picks her up and carefully places her on the sofa, regardless of the expensive white sofa stained with blood. His handsome brow furrows and his voice is a little quivering. Nina, how are you? What is the matter with you? Nina Morrison is unconscious. Her lips are bloodless. She is in such pain that she does not have the strength to answer Lucian Gray. Lucian Gray's heart tightens sharply and he yells, "Nanny, call an ambulance." Nina Morrison is unconscious when the ambulance pulls into the Grays' mansion. Her fingertips clutch the clothes on the chest, as if her heart is suffering a great pain which has overwhelmed her. In the blackest darkness, she seems to see Troy's face. He is young, handsome and tender, smiling at her as if she is the most precious thing in his palm. "Troy," Nina whispers. "It hurts. Troy, where are you?" Lucian Gray, who is carrying her to the ambulance, makes a stop. The person she misses in her coma isn't him but her senior. Lucian Gray's heart seems to be gripped by a giant beast, making his breathing hard. His dark eyes are filled with anger, disappointment and sadness. He stares at Nina's face. For the first time, he made an exception to go to the mall with a woman. For the first time, he took a woman back to the Grays' mansion. For the first time, he does not mind a woman who is not a virgin. For the first time, he pushed off the board meeting to eat with a woman. For the first time, he wanted to make rules to keep the woman with him. But, so much of these just get her disgust and hatred. He has done so much but cannot compare with the upperclassman she is obsessed with. Is this woman's heart making of iron or stone? How can she be so stubborn? Outside the hospital's VIP room, a young doctor in white is coming up with a medical record. "Doctor, how is she?" Lucian Gray asks, trying to suppress his fear and tension. "She almost had an abortion. But she is fine now. Are you her husband?" The doctor looks at Lucian Gray with a bit of blame. "You paid too little attention to the care of the pregnant women. If you guys come any later, the baby will not be able to keep." Thank God. Lucian Gray's always calm and wise mind suddenly goes haywire. Nina's pregnant. A surge of joy rises from the bottom of his heart. He has many lovers but they are never allowed to be left with his seeds. But Nina is so hard to tame in bed that he always forgets about contraception. He didn't expect her to be pregnant. His cold, arrogant eyes seem to blossom all of a sudden. Maybe he can forgive Nina for thinking about that guy. He can try to make her accept himself slowly. She is just 2 months pregnant. It is the most dangerous time. Make sure take good care of her. The doctor can't help expostulating with those fathers who get lost in too much excitement. 2 months? Asked Lucian in surprise with a bit cold voice. Yes, 8 weeks, just 2 months. The doctor gets a little confused. The mood of this expectant father changes so quick. 2 months. It has been just 42 days since Lucian Gray first met Nina Morrison. But she is 2 months pregnant. Nina is still sleeping. Her long lashes cast a fan-shaped shadow over her eyes. The little white face is quiet and beautiful. He gazes at her face. His face is ghastly pale and his eyes are scarlet like hell. His strong hands with thunder anger rise, hesitates for a moment, smashing hard on the wall. With a sound of a bone joint misalignment muffled, white wall is left with a fist mark. Blood drops flow down. He has no idea how he got to the hospital parking lot. Getting into his car, he slams on the gas, turns the steering wheel wildly to the right, and then heads into downtown center. The car scratches a long scratch on the guardrail, just like his wounded heart. The shrill engine reverberates through the quiet streets, and the mad Lamborghini, like a runaway horse, rampages through the brightly lit streets. Pedestrians and vehicles are dodging. Screeching is all over the streets. Rampaging Lamborghini stops in front of the night bar. His tires screech against the ground. The men and women around are all jumbled with terror. A woman in a tight black dress and her boyfriend just got out of the bar. They are almost hit by the Lamborghini, and the woman screams into her boyfriend's arms. As he consoles his frightened girlfriend, the man swears, "Are you looking for death? Watch out." The man is in flowers shirts dangled thick gold necklaces around his necks and points Lucian Gray with large gold rings in his finger. Lucian Gray pushes open the door, with the air of an insufferable king. His cold face is even with a smile. But people feel a strong pressure, as if the air around him is a few degrees below. Step by step he walks slowly toward the flower shirt man. His voice is low, but it is deterrent enough. "What did you say? I did not hear you. Say it again." The man in the flowers shirt is shocked by Lucian Gray's momentum. But his girlfriend is nearby and he has to pretend to be tough. "I ask you if you are looking for trouble." The words just fell and a heavy blow has hit his right face. A nosebleed comes out immediately. The screams, the alarms are everywhere, and the scene is a mess. Lucian Gray stands there alone. His long legs are folded proudly and stands steadily watching the scene. His shoulder is patted gently. "Lucian, it is you. I wonder who dares break the scene in my place." A man with somewhat sinister features smiles at Lucian Gray. Seems familiar. Lucian Gray raises his eyebrows. "Peter Johnson, the state of guests in your bar is getting lower and lower." Peter Johnson just smiles. "Let's go and have a drink. It has been a long time." They are here, too. As soon as Lucian Gray comes in, the stars in the VIP box are excited. This is Lucian Gray. If one can get this golden lord, she will not have to worry about anything anymore. One by one, they twist their waists toward Lucian Gray, as sitting directly on his lap. Lucian Gray takes off his coat, throws it casually on the sofa, loosens his tie, and orders the waiter to open one of the most expensive bottles of wine. Peter Johnson lies in the pile of women and he suddenly frowns. "Lucian, what happens to your hand?" "Oh, I broke it by accident," says Lucian Gray faintly. But the pain at the bottom still cannot hide from Peter Johnson's eyes. It seems that he broke it on his own. But what else in the world can make the arrogant President Gray self-mutilation? Peter does not feel right. "Fiona, why do not you go with Mr. Gray?" Peter Johnson winks at Fiona Turner. Fiona Turner's film just won the international awards. She is the most popular one at the time. The night bar is so great. You can find the most popular star and the most beautiful young model in the VIP box. The Johnson family has almost monopolized the domestic entertainment industry. Nina Morrison wakes up the next morning. She opens her eyes and only to see a nurse. "Excuse me, where am I, please?" asks Nina Morrison politely. "Oh, don't you know? You are in St. Anne's Hospital. St. Anne's. The city's top private one." Nina's eyes sparkle. "Great. Dad is also in this hospital, waiting for surgery." Lucian Gray has been haunting her for days. She just wants to visit her father today. He's the only family she has. When the nurse left, Nina Morrison takes off the needle from her hand and walks toward the ICU. "Nina, you are here. What?" "Patient clothes." Barry Morrison, lying on the bed, is very happy to see his daughter. He is now able to say short sentences. Nina is pleased. The pain in the lower abdomen does not seem obvious either. "Dad, I am fine. I just have a cold. I come to the hospital for an infusion." Nina Morrison replies with ease. "Nina. Dad, get well. pay back the money. You have to study hard. Barry looks at the daughter with relief, naively thinking that the medical expense is really borrowed by his daughter. All right, Dad, stop talking and have a good rest. Nina holds Dad's hands and asks the nurse next to her, when is my father's surgery going to take place? The nurse shakes her head and says, I'm not sure. We have to wait for a matching kidney. But your father is too weak to undergo big surgery. He has to get better. Nina Morrison sighs. She owes Lucian Gray more and more. She begins to wonder if she could afford. Barry is so weak that after a few homely chats with Nina, he falls asleep. Nurse, how can I get the discharge formalities? Nina Morrison asks at the first floor lobby guide. There is an important class today, and she wants to get out of here and go to school. Why are you here? I have been looking for you everywhere. The nurse looks at Nina angrily. You have a premonitory abortion. You need to be careful. Quote, abortion. Nina Morrison just freezes. She cannot be pregnant. Every time she finishes with Lucian Gray, she will sneak up on the pill. How is it possible? Suddenly her face turns pale and her teeth clenches against her lips. Was it that night? That horrible night? She did not even see the man's face. She is pregnant with his baby. She is only 18 and her life is just beginning. She is not ready to be a mother. Nina Morrison clenches her bloodless lips and turns pale. What should I do? Does Lucian Gray know about it? What would he do? What if he shut down the contract and Dad's surgery? Nina is in a muddle. Miss, if you want to leave hospital, you have to pay the bill first. The nurse is accustomed to looking at Nina, who is shaking all over. When she sees the bill from the nurse, Nina gets dizzy, since she can impossible afford to the long string of zero, even if you sell her. It is merely first aid. Why would it cost so much? Nina mutters, pulls out her wallet, counts out $500 bills, and talks to the nurse. Can I pay part of the bill first? No, all must be settled. The nurse replies. Her shaking hands pick up the phone, dial a series of numbers. The phone connects, but Nina says nothing. On the other end of the phone, Lucian Gray is silent, too. The atmosphere is stifling. Halfway up, Nina is about to hang up the phone when she hears a feminine voice on the other end. Lucian, come on. I can't wait. Lucian Gray suddenly hangs up the phone. Nina bites her lips. Somewhere in her heart is broken. That is funny. Who do you think you are? If you are in trouble, you should call the police, not Lucian Gray. Nina, why are you so immature? Nina shakes her head with a self-deprecating laugh. It is cold at night. Nina doesn't know where to go. There is no place for her. Holding her shoulders, she sits down slowly against the corner. Her long hair covers her tired white face. So tired. I wish I could sleep and never wake up. Miss, I have been looking for you everywhere. You can leave the hospital. The nurse's voice wakes up Nina, who has already curls up in the corner and falls asleep. Really? Nina can't believe her ears. Miss, the president sent me to pick you up. A man behind the nurse says. It is Ryan. Nina stands up in silence. She can't refuse, can she? She can't run away from Lucian Gray unless he gets tired of her and leaves her. Bentley drives smoothly. Nina's cell phone rings suddenly. In a heartbeat, is it Lucian Gray's text? On the screen, it is a weather report. Nina is suddenly disappointed for some reason. The car is racing along the quiet road. Nina looks out the window and frowns a little puzzled. Ryan, are you going the wrong way? Ryan turns his head and says, yes, the president asks me to take you to his apartment in the middle of the hill. Seeing that Nina is not sure yet, Ryan explains, Miss, you have get on my boss's nerves this time. I am afraid that he will never let you step into his house anymore. Never let me step into his house anymore. Nina lowers her head and laughs at herself. Yeah, that is how Lucian Gray punishes her like a slave. In the low-key but luxurious living room of the apartment, Lucian Gray's long legs are perched on the crystal dwarfs in front of the sofa. His dark eyes narrow slightly, flashing dangerously. Fiona Turner is sticky on him with soft language tender. Lucian Gray's muscles snaps as she hears Nina's footsteps. Fiona Turner turns around, glances at Nina and asks, Lucian, who is she? I thought it's just you and me here. Lucian Gray doesn't even give a look at Nina. Well, just a maid to come and serve us. Don't think too much. Nina clenches her lips, her eyes lowers. Her thick lashes covering all the expressions in her eyes. Oh, just a maid. I know you would not look that bad. Fiona Turner immediately puts down her heart. Lucian Gray frivolously pinches Fiona's face, a deep kiss on her delicate red lips. Fiona slightly struggles. Lucian, no. There is someone around. Hearing what she said, Lucian's actions become wilder rather than restrained. Fiona Turner gives a low cry of pain. No longer. Nina feels a pain in her heart. President, if you have nothing else to say, I will go down first. She says in a cold voice, with a bit of stubbornness and contempt. Lucian Gray looks up from Fiona's neck. His sharp eyes are sweeping over Nina's face. His voice is colder than Nina's. Clean the living room. You big jerk. Nina curses in her heart. She doesn't know what the hell is going on with Lucian Gray, forcing her to watch the scene. The living room in the apartment is very clean. Nina has nothing to clean. Lucian Gray had her cleaning in the living room as an excuse to torture her. With a cloth to wipe the dust on the furniture which doesn't exist, every action will involve a pain. The child, her child, is growing up in her belly. Nina gently strokes her belly with one hand and is in a complex mood. The strange man who has not seen clearly planted a small seed in her belly on a dark night. She should hate this kid, right? But, for some reasons, Nina has no way of hating the child in her belly, which is still in its infancy. This is her child, her own child. She is a mother, she will protect her, let her come to the world smoothly. Nina believes it is a little girl who is cute as an angel. There is a smile on Nina's face. She is too preoccupied with her daughter's future to care about the man and woman in the living room. Lucian puts Fiona under him, but he can't help glancing at Nina. Damn it. Lucian Gray, who has thought he could see jealousy and hatred on Nina's face, sees a soft touch of her belly with one hand, a dreamy smile on her face. A vision of what she is looking for and a vision that makes her feel happy and fulfilled. Lucian feels like he has been stabbed in the heart. That kid in her belly, she must be the schoolmaster, right? As you can see, Nina is looking forward to the baby. She, loves that man, doesn't she? An acerbity fills Lucian's throat, and his dark eyes becomes bloodthirsty. Madly tore off Fiona's thin skirt. Big hand no pity on her leaves a purple mark. Fiona's screams awakens Nina, who is delusional. She turns her head in disgust. But suddenly her eyes meet Lucian Gray's bloodthirsty eyes. Lucian's eyes make Nina have a cold sweat on her back. Lucian Gray, does he know she is pregnant? What would he do? If he breaks the contract, what happens to Dad's money for the surgery? Nina's heart is filled with deep worry. Lucian breathes a sigh of relief when he finally succeeds in drawing Nina's attention. Nina doesn't seem to have any feelings for him either. Lucian Gray keeps moving, fierce and wild. But his dark eyes don't care about the woman underneath, rather than stare at Nina. Nina, with a rag in her hand, opens her little mouth widely and stares at the two people who have no shame in their eyes. She is really shocked. How can someone be so shameless? Nina is ashamed and angry. Her face flushes. As her body moves slowly back, Nina tries to move her feet without making any sound. It is disgusting. She can't stay in this room for a second. Seeing Nina's movements, Lucian Gray stops, making a cold voice, "Stop." The action stops, causes Fiona Turner to be dissatisfied with the Lucian. "Lucian, don't stop. Lucian." The tale sounds long and imploring, with the taste of begging. Lucian smiles. He increases the intensity of the action. Seeing no way out, Nina simply throws her weight around. "Okay, Lucian Gray, don't you want me to leave? I will just watch a free movie." She throws down the rag, folds her hands on her chest, leans against the table, and stares coldly at the two people who are making love hard on the sofa. Fiona is exaggerating. Nina thinks of an adjective, swine howling. She could not help laughing. Lucian Gray is furious at Nina's laughter. This woman, in her heart, never cares about him. Even if he and other women do such things in front of her, it will not stimulate her at all. Lucian Gray stares at her eyes. His eyes become red. Lucian dresses silently and walks into the bathroom, pushing aside Fiona Turner, who is content to be a cat. Fiona just realizes that there is another woman in this room. At last, she is a little ashamed, dresses in hurry, and scolds Nina, "Get out of here." Nina lowers her head to hide the contempt in her eyes. "Go outside." But the contempt in her eyes is clearly seen by Fiona. A burst of anger surges. Fiona angrily shouts, "Stop." Nina turns around and doesn't respond. The face has been burning Fiona Turner's slap. "Bitch. What are you looking in your eye?" Fiona Turner's voice is full of hate. She hates Lucian for embarrassing her, but dares not take it out on Lucian, so she takes it out on Nina. Nina covers her flushed cheeks and looks at Fiona incredulously. "Bitch. Who are you calling a bitch?" She just wants to laugh. It is her, not Nina, who just made love in the living room with Lucian Gray. These days, people are becoming less and less self-aware. Fiona slaps her face again, but Nina grabs her wrist and holds her in midair. Nina practiced taekwondo before, and Fiona, who is no match for her, has a bruised wrist but no resistance. "You let me go. Bitch. Let me go." Fiona Turner, who is willing to lose, begins to pull the voice loudly shouting, "Lucian. Help me. This bitch hit me." Lucian Gray walks out of the bathroom, wraps in a towel. Fiona Turner immediately sees the rescuers began to sob. "Lucian, you see, she bullied me." Nina laughs, and the woman's acting is extraordinary. Lucian Gray glances coldly at Nina's red cheeks, frowns slightly, and speaks coldly, "Let her go." Nina gets cold in her heart. Lucian Gray is still defending this woman. What is Nina? After all, it is just a toy in his hand. One day he gets tired of it, and Dad's surgery fee is gone. Nina disheartens to let her go, but she hears Lucian Gray says callously, "Help Miss Turner massage her wrist." Lucian peers into Nina's eyes, hoping to see resentment or resistance in her eyes. But she's disappointed. Her eyes are as calm as a fountain, without any movement. Lucian Gray's words don't seem to have touched her. Listening to Lucian Gray, Fiona Turner sits triumphantly on the sofa and holds out an elegant hand to Nina. She says, "That would be very kind of you." Nina lowers her eyes and reaches out to help Fiona Turner massage. Although the heart wants to break Fiona's delicate wrist with force, she can't. She begs Lucian to do what she has to do. "Oh, will you be quiet? You are killing me." In fact, Nina's movements are very gentle, but Fiona Turner exaggerates the pain of the voice. "I am sorry. I will be a little lighter." Nina acts as the perfect maid. Lucian suddenly feels dull. One pulls up Fiona, goes outside the door, go to the night bar. He doesn't know why he is so upset to see Nina act like she doesn't care. Maybe it is time to have fun. He has been living an almost ascetic life since he met Nina. Women have not touched him in a long time. Lucian and Fiona hugs each other and walks out. There is only silence. As Nina caresses her small, fast-growing life in her belly, she suddenly feels a deep sense of loss and fear. Just 2 months ago, she thinks she would marry Troy and have a lovely baby for him. She is a mother. He is a father. But a nightmarish night shattered all her dreams. She has gone a long way, and, the further she goes, all the strength of her disguise is crushed, and Nina crouches on a large sofa, huddles tight and gulps down the rushing tears. What does she do wrong? Why would God punish her like that? Her poor child, who doesn't even know her father, comes to this cold world innocently. When Lucian comes back, Nina has fallen asleep and curls up on the couch. Lucian Gray slams the door and Nina wakes up. Lucian Gray's face is clouded over and she sits down on the sofa without looking at Nina. Nina lowers her head. Her hair is messy. Her face half hidden in the shadows and her heart is a mess. She doesn't know how to negotiate with Lucian to have this baby. Finally, she determines and says, "Well, I am pregnant." Lucian's face suddenly becomes livid and his voice fills with suppressed anger. Who is the father of the fucking child? Is that Troy's child? Nina feels a tingling in her heart how she wishes the child were Troy's. She wants to have children for him. Unfortunately, she is afraid she has never had a chance in my life. Lucian Gray's anger flares when she doesn't answer. So he picks up Nina's collar and sneers. Did you get dumped by him? Your senior, leaves the bastard behind and runs. Love-struck girl meets no lover. You are really poor. It seems like such a sharp knife stuck into her heart that Nina could not breathe. What is her answer? Can she tell Lucian Gray that she doesn't even know who the father is? Who would believe such nonsense? That sounds like a lie. Seeing Nina Morrison bowing her head and not talking, Lucian Gray ascertains his guess. Turning his head around, he wrenches Nina Morrison's chin fiercely. Bitch, have you forgotten that I am your owner? Your father's life is in my hands. As long as I say no, no hospital dares to take care of your dad. Nina Morrison is shocked. Lucian Gray knows where her weaknesses are. She opens her panicked eyes and begs him for the first time. Please save my father. Her voice is thin and soft with irresistible power. Lucian Gray finds that he can't refuse any Nina Morrison's pleading. With his soft-hearted resentment, he grabs Nina Morrison's long hair and pulls her face close to him. He opens his mouth coldly. I can save your father, but from today on, you are the humblest maid. Learn how to please me. Yes, President. Nina Morrison's voice is husky like thick dust. Lucian Gray's lips draw a sarcastic arc. He looks at Nina Morrison's drooping head and stands up. His tall figure with its wintry chill air gives Nina Morrison an inexplicable sense of oppression. Lucian Gray no longer looks at Nina Morrison and strides towards the bedroom. Walking to the bedroom door, he turns around and sees Nina Morrison standing still. He says in a cold voice, "Why are you still there?" "I am hungry. Make some supper soon." It is not until Lucian Gray slams the door that Nina Morrison breathes a sigh of relief. She is weak and slightly nauseous. It seems that she is beginning to have a pregnancy reaction. She's afraid of Lucian Gray now. She doesn't know why. Seeing his bloodthirsty eyes, she feels inexplicably guilty. She pours herself a glass of water and drinks it in spite of nausea. There is a strange noise in her stomach. She is hungry. She's hungry and sick. It's a terrible feeling. She finds a bun in the closet and eats it in a hurry. She still feels uncomfortable and has a terrible headache. But she remembers Lucian Gray's instructions and goes to the kitchen to cook. She mixes rice with glutinous rice and boils a pot of sticky and fragrant miscellaneous rice porridge. She cuts the newly listed into pieces and sprinkles with fine salt. She puts on a little vinegar and makes a refreshing salad dish. She doesn't know what Lucian Gray likes to eat. She makes a sandwich and fries 2 golden fried eggs. Nina Morrison has no appetite for the simple evening meal and wants to vomit when she smells the fried eggs. She knocks at Lucian Gray's door and says softly across the door, "The meal is ready. Come and eat." Nobody answers. She has to repeat it again before she goes back to another bedroom and lies down. She curls up on the soft bed. The silky warm quilt soothes the nausea in her stomach. The lamp at the head of the bed glows warm yellow and makes the room quiet. The next morning, Nina Morrison's head is still dizzy, but she still pushes herself to the kitchen to make breakfast. There is no supper on the table last night. There are only dishes thrown about. She cleans the table and makes a hearty breakfast. She puts breakfast in the pan and waits for Lucian Gray to get up. The breakfast is heated several times before Lucian Gray comes out of the bedroom. He looks at Nina Morrison as coldly as ice. Nina Morrison quickly brings breakfast to the table and serves porridge for him. She tries to smile at him, but the smile is very stiff. "Today I cook mushroom porridge." Lucian Gray says nothing and sits down at the table. He picks up the porridge on the table and drinks it slowly with a spoon. His movements are elegant. Nina Morrison is beside him serving his soup, but he doesn't look at her. They have breakfast. The atmosphere is quiet and depressing that Nina Morrison just drinks a bowl of porridge. She can't eat anything. "I'm full. I'll pick up the chopsticks in a minute." Nina Morrison stands up to leave the table. She is exhausted and tired. "Stop," Lucian Gray says coldly. "Clean the house." Nina Morrison looks up at Lucian Gray, who is drinking the milk expressionlessly. There is a small fire burning deep in his eyes. Nina Morrison suddenly feels a little frightened. Now Lucian Gray, who is neither violent nor cold, has made her feel a little afraid. She knows that he is holding her father's life in his hands, so she has to be good. She nods and asks, "Is there anything else to do?" Lucian Gray ignores her at all. He stands up and puts down the unfinished breakfast and goes to the bedroom. He sees Nina Morrison as heir. After that, his attitude towards Nina Morrison is even more alienated. His dark eyes are always filled with thoughts. Even when he is sitting in the sun, he is covered with a layer of cold. Nina Morrison is relieved. That's good. He won't harass her anymore. They live together but are thousands of miles away from each other. It's good to keep distance with Lucian Gray. Nina Morrison is content with such days. Nina Morrison does housework actively. Her dad's operation is coming. She must not offend Lucian Gray during this period. She stoops and is busy cleaning the windows in the room with a rag. Her back hurts. Pregnant women should bend down as little as possible and not climb high. But she does both. Lucian Gray doesn't go to the company today. He lies on the sofa and lazily watches Nina Morrison doing housework. He commands Nina Morrison to wipe here and there. Nina Morrison really wants to cry. She really wants to ask, "President, is your company going to close down? You are so idle. Don't you have to work?" But Nina Morrison has to give in to him. She cleans the house respectfully and conscientiously. She rubs the floor diamond-like shine, and even outside the windowsill is spotless. Nina Morrison feels she can be elected the top 10 maids. But Lucian Gray is not satisfied. At noon he lies on the sofa and read while Nina Morrison cleans the room. Suddenly, Nina Morrison feels a chill on her back. She turns her head and looks back and watches Lucian Gray's deep eyes. Is it an illusion? She even feels that there seems to be a special emotion in Lucian Gray's eyes, which is commonly called sadness. Is he sad? Nina Morrison's pink lips open slightly and she looks at Lucian Gray. She tries to see exactly what is in his eyes. It's an illusion. For the next second, Lucian Gray squints and says coldly, "Are you perfunctory with me? Is that how the floor is swept?" His eyes narrow and it's a sign of his anger. Nina Morrison pauses and withstands the pain in her waist and whispers, "I'm sorry, I'll clean it again." Nina Morrison kneels on the cold floor and wipes the top-grade teak floor inch by inch with a rag until it is as bright as new and the figure can be seen clearly. In this meticulous way, she cleans the living room all morning. When the floor is all cleaned and she stands up, she finds that her back aches and she is almost unstable. Nina Morrison rubs her belly and in her heart she encourages the baby in her belly, "Baby, you must be strong. When your grandfather's operation is finished, I'll take you out of here. I'll never let you suffer again."